I think a lot of people should get vaccinated.
You're talking,
I think a
you're
lot
talking
of people
a lot of vulnerable people.
Yeah.
If you just said vulnerable people,
yeah,
that'd be a lot
older
of people.
fat people. I think a lot of those folks.
To be perfectly honest, of any of these aspects of the vaccine, the only way we can know long-term stuff is with the passage of time, for certain.
That's terrifying for parents.
It is.
The idea that your son could get vaccinated, and most likely he would have been fine if he got COVID, and that your son could catch myocarditis and have permanent heart problems.
The entire clip that you guys just heard, I think the main takeaway from that, because, we've talked COVID to death, only if we could do that in real life, right? But we've talked COVID to death. But I think the main takeaway from that, especially for myself as a parent, is how comfortable are you giving your child the vaccine, right?
You gave it to yourself, right? So
yeah, I gave it to myself. But again, from what you're hearing there's a side effect of the vaccine that is rare, but that also possible. Inflammation of the heart, and apparently it's actually more likely to happen in younger people, right? So now we didn't play this part of the clip because, again, copyright, but Dr. Sanjay Gupta speaks to that later, because Rogan was saying, which, by the way, is a valid concern. You don't even have to be a parent, just be a human and think about kids. Like, do you want to roll the dice on a kid's life? Rogan's concern is, hey, why would you give a child this if later on in life they could possibly get this inflammation of the heart? Whereas then, if chances are, by the numbers, if they get COVID, they're going to be just fine. So why roll the dice on the inflammation of the heart later? And Gupta says later on that based on the numbers, he shows like charts and all that stuff, based on the numbers, your chances of getting inflammation of the heart are actually higher if you were just to contract COVID-19 versus getting the actual vaccination.
Obviously, if you're sick and you get something else, it's going to be worse. That's a duh situation. You don't have to be a doctor to figure that part out.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't mean to interrupt you there, but if you're a Joe Rogan fan, Rogan is talking like he's a doctor, like he's a medical scientist, and he is pointing out duh moments. But some people hear the duh moments and they're like, oh wow, really? I didn't know that. And they're listening to Rogan speak and they're like, all right, well then fuck the vaccine. You know what I mean? I would rather just get COVID. By the way, I just want to make this very clear before you go, because I've been rambling. That's
what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to talk. I'm listening to you, man. Go ahead, man.
I do not agree with children getting vaccinated. All right, go ahead.
Well, there's other parts to the discussion that we didn't play, obviously, because we can't play the whole clip. But yeah, it was touching on what you said just at the very end there, to the point where Rogan was saying, doesn't it just make sense just to get infected with COVID? Because then you build the antibodies naturally and you're actually more immune to getting COVID than if you were to get vaccinated. So why not just contract it? Why not just hang around a bunch of people, go to a bunch of parties, go crazy? And obviously, Dr. Sanjay Gupta kind of shut that down and was like, come on, you can't be putting that out there like that. That's dangerous. That's dangerous talk, which I agree with. But like you said, man, the reason that this conversation was had in the first place, because Joe Rogan is obviously on one side. And now here he is finally talking to a doctor with medical experience, medical expertise. So when Joe Rogan says these things that sound like medical claims, or that he's trying to make medical claims, fine, go ahead and do that. Now you have a doctor who can tell you whether what you're saying is true or false. I'm watching this interview and I'm sitting there and I'm hearing Joe Rogan say things to Dr. Sanjay Gupta. And you know what I'm hearing a lot of? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I'm hearing a lot of, yeah.
Right.
That's what I'm hearing a lot of from Dr. Sanjay. So all these people that wanted to come for Joe Rogan and just anti-vaxxers in general, what's up? You got a doctor sitting there saying, you're right. Even when it came to the discussion of ivermectin, and he said that it was irresponsible for media to be pushing it as a horse deworming drug, because that's not what it was. That's not what he was taking. Sanjay Gupta, yeah, you're right.
Well, just to kind of speak to that, he took ivermectin, and the way that the media positioned it was kind of like that's all he took, and he took this this animal drug, and so he did take what the media said he took.
Right, but
it's
it's
just
not
how the
an animal
media
drug.
it's just how
not
the
an animal
media
drug.
it's how the version of it that he took is not an animal drug. But
Right.
essentially the issue there, the combative issue there, is there's been no scientific proof, there's been no research, there's been nothing officially on paper that's been approved that says this ivermectin drug has any effectiveness on COVID. So that is what, by the way, very irresponsible for the media to twist it the way they did.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's fine that it's not a medically proven and all that stuff. I get it. Just say that then. In the wise words of Gutsy Guts, say that then. You know what I mean? Why are we sitting here and having to push another narrative, and not just another narrative, but another narrative that would essentially, anybody who's questioning or might want to research more into it, they're going to shut it down because they think it's for horses now.
Well, what I'm saying is the reason why, okay, again, very irresponsible for the media to do that. But the media clearly has an agenda on why they did that. I don't think their agenda was to assassinate Joe Rogan. I think the agenda is basically to say, hey, this is not safe for you to take for the reasons you're taking it, i.e., spikes in hospital visits because of this drug. So I personally think Rogan was just collateral damage in the media's attempt to warn the public about that. Maybe collateral, maybe not. He has a megaphone. He has a megaphone. So
what do you think about him saying that people should just get infected instead of getting the vaccine?
Well, I think that is silly, because when Rogan speaks to how healthy he is, takes vitamins all the time,
and how quickly he got over COVID,
that's great. I think that's amazing for him. Like, we spoke to that, and I was happy that he got over it very fast. But again, I just really wish people would do some sort of disclaimer when they say that. I mean, he did kind of do it indirectly when he said elderly people who are out of shape, they are the ones who need to be vaccinated. Right. But I think he needs to say, this was my experience. Again, he did kind of say it, but he needs to be more direct. He has a megaphone. This is my experience with COVID-19. Yours might be different. Consult your doctor. And then he can go on his tirade. You know what I mean?
Here's the joke. Here's the joke with that whole point. Because when he had that actual conversation, once again, with the doctor, he sat there and he was like, you know what? The only part that he had a problem with was exactly what you had a problem with. The fact that he didn't point out that he should be specific and say, listen, elderly, old and fat people, you shouldn't be listening to this advice. This is advice I'm giving to healthy people.
Yeah.
But the doctor didn't say that what he was saying was, crazy or don't give that advice. It's just like he was just saying, you gotta be specific when you're saying, be healthy and take vitamins. That's what I'm talking about.
No, and you're right. And to be clear, as you guys can see, very short clips. This was a 3-hour conversation. Right. So what we're speaking to now is the clips that we heard, right? So there could have been much more pushback to Rogan's points. Even Rogan could have been more submissive to Gupta's points. We don't know. This is based on the clips that are available to us, right? But I mean, like, at the end of the day, COVID impacts everyone differently. Rogan's built like a horse. He was able to get through it like in a day.
That's funny that you say he's built like a horse and he's taking the ivermectin. The horse,
right.
Maybe that's why it works so well.
I'm just saying, and I've said it. If I said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Consult your doctor, then consult another one, and then another one. Stay away from, you said this, stay away from Google, and I'll say stay away from Facebook. All right? Because
shout out to Joe Rogan, the modern day centaur.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, people could be posting stuff on Google and Facebook, and it could be 100% accurate for their experience. But but
majority of it is it.
No, but you are not them. Not them. So it could impact you totally different. There's been bodybuilders jacked up, bigger than Rogan. They died from this.
Yeah.
So, consult your doctors. And even they could be wrong. Just saying. So what do? You
can't exactly, because you're like consult your doctors, but they could be wrong too. Don't listen to Joe Rogan. He could be wrong.
Only thing I stand with Joe on, I'm not for vaccinating children. I'm not rolling those dice. That's
It
it.
doesn't even make sense. Let them. You know why I didn't want to touch on that? Because I need to see some numbers of children out here that are dying in numbers to the point where they need to be vaccinated too right now.
There you
It's
go.
unnecessary. It's unnecessary. So that's why there's no point in talking about it.
And I will say this last thing on that. They're really, really, really going ham for the mandatory vaccinations for children. I can see, if you can't see it, you're blind.
What is, and listen, it's gonna be a lot easier for children. It's gonna be a lot easier for children because all they're gonna do is apply pressure to the parents.
Yeah, you can't go to school. Yeah, they already have
it's literally
that.
that simple.
They already have that with some vaccines, so they're pushing for that really hard.
What parents are willing to do for themselves in order to pay their bills and grab a paycheck is not the same sacrifices that they're willing to make for their children.
No.
But let's see what happens. I'm curious to see what happens when all these vaccinated people who are coming down and criticizing all those other people have to put their own children at risk as opposed to themselves alone. Let's see how you talk about it then.
Well, I've already said my piece on that. Viewing public, what say you? Leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I am very, very excited to watch the full thing. The difference with you
is that you're like not working in one of the fields and you're not like coming down on people who didn't get the vaccine. That's the difference with you and the people I'm talking about, though.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. Yeah. Let's keep it COVID though. Kyrie Irving
platform to speak on what's true and what's mine. Nobody's gonna hijack my voice. Nobody's gonna take the power away from me that I have for speaking on these things. And don't believe that I'm retiring. Don't believe that I'm gonna give up this game for a vaccine mandate or staying unvaccinated. Don't believe any of that shit, man. Like really be aware of what's being said before I even get a chance to be on the podium and speak for myself.
He's
right. You know what I'm saying? Like all these people saying all these things about what's going on with me, and it's just not true. Pay attention to what's going on out in the real world. People are losing their jobs to these mandates. People are having to make choices with their own lives, which I respect. And I don't want to sit here and play on people's emotions either. Just use logic. What would you do? If you felt uncomfortable going into the season when you were promised that you would have exemptions or that you didn't have to be forced to get the vaccine. This wasn't an issue before the season started. This wasn't something that I foresaw coming where I prepared for it. And, I had a chance to strategize on what was going to be best for me and my family. I came into the season thinking that I was just going to be able to play ball, be able to use my talent to continue to, inspire, influence people in the right way. Like putting this on me is just like, why are you putting it on me? This is not part of, what's going on in conversations with scientists, physicians, and doctors. I'm just a hooper, right? Like I'm just a person who's being utilized as an example. For some odd reason, people love to have my name in the mix of just some BS. Like just hearing the way people speak with so much conviction about what I should be doing with my life and what, my teammates should be feeling about me, what the organization be feeling about me. And
did say that the earth was flat, Kyrie. So, that's why people kind of question some of the things that you say, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, my 2 cents on this is kind of short and sweet. He said it himself. He's a hooper. He's a basketball player.
It's funny how 1 second they want to be like, shut up and dribble. And then the next second he's got to be lead political races. And LeBron has to advocate for vaccines. And all the players have to come together to stand against Kyrie because that's the quote unquote right thing to do. That's funny. Wow, it's amazing how the world changes 1 second to the next.
He's a basketball player, you guys. He's just making a personal choice. And he's taking a hit for it. What more do you want from the guy? It's his choice. So I'm curious to see if they start mandating these vaccines to children, I'm curious to see if they start coming for all the parents who don't want to get their children vaccinated. Because isn't that kind of the same thing? He's choosing not to get vaccinated for his own personal beliefs. A parent might say, I don't want my child vaccinated for their own personal beliefs. If they're coming for Kyrie, are they going to come for the parents? I seen Joy Reid. She's on MSNBC. I like her. I like her show, but she came for Kyrie Irving like he sided with the KKK.
Not surprised. She looking for views.
It was the most insane thing I have ever seen in my entire life. I thought.
What was she saying? What were some of the things she was saying?
Well, because some people were comparing Kyrie Irving to Muhammad Ali. Kyrie never said he was Muhammad Ali. Other people were saying this. So she came for Kyrie for people's comparison. She's like, oh, Muhammad Ali stood up for not, fighting the white man's war. And by the way, Muhammad Ali was for vaccination. So the fact that you wouldn't, and it was just really embarrassing. And it was a very clear example of how irresponsible media can be. All he said was, I don't want to get vaccinated. He said a lot more, but that's just a summation. How other people were able to get so many talking points from I don't want to get vaccinated is amazing to me. Where did it come from? But they found it. Very irresponsible.
I want to know why people are still living in this illusionary world where they feel like this vaccine is still a choice. And you use that word all the time. I hear people use that word.
It is a choice.
Absolutely not. Because if I go to you and I say, listen, here's a choice. You can either die by fire or you can die by freezing to death. And you say to me, well, I don't want to die. And I say, it's too bad. You got to pick one of the two ways to die and you're going to die today. That's not a choice, man. That is not a choice. Because
the Webster's dictionary defines choice an act of selecting or making a decision when faced with two or more possibilities. You just gave me two. That is a choice.
There's no okay, well, when they should add the word logical possibility or realistic possibility or sustainable possibility.
Well,
these possibilities I'm adding adjectives because these possibilities that they're leaving vague as defined opens the door for dumbass comments like that. Like, want to define choice? I just told you don't want to die. The main thing is that you don't want to die, but I'm giving you two options of a way to die. That's not the right choice. That's what I'm saying. They're saying, listen, you don't have to get vaccinated, but if you don't get vaccinated, you have to lose $15-16 million.
He's retiring, by the way.
The team.
He's retiring.
That was also a rumor. Because he said in the IG live, don't believe that he's retiring. He's not. He's going to stay fit. He's going to stay ready for his team. Okay. So he shut that down. He shut that down in the IG live. Don't worry. I watched the whole thing. Because Kyrie said mainly that he wants to be the voice of the voiceless. There's a lot of people right now losing their jobs. Let's talk about the bigger issue here that's being ignored because everybody wants to focus on Kyrie. People are losing their jobs because they made the choice. And because of the choice that they made, the choice that they were forced into, which is not really a choice when you're being forced into it, but that's okay. We'll continue with the false definition because of their decision.
Dictionary.
And definition of the word. Webster also has the word bling in there as well. There's also other slang words.
Do you know what bling means? Do you know what bling means?
I don't care.
You know what bling means. Of course you do.
I obviously know what bling means, and I know that it came from the Hot Boys, Baby, and Lil Wayne. And
the point
Webster
once
Webster put that in there, I started looking at other dictionaries. Okay, let's just put it that way.
All right.
I know my own definitions. I believe I'm pretty good at knowing definitions of words as I've displayed.
More than Webster.
My vocabulary is extensive, sir. My vocabulary is extensive.
More than Webster.
Well, more than you for sure. Because
I don't think so. I don't think
I can understand when there's a real choice being made and a defined choice. Yours is a defined choice. Mine is a realistic, actual. I want to make a decision for myself and not be forced into making a decision because of the circumstances. If I make what I feel is the right one.
Okay.
You get everything that I said. I said a lot of big words just now. I just want to make sure.
No, what I'm trying to say is you're allowed to your opinions. We all have them, but you're not allowed to your own facts. And the fact is a choice between 1 and 2.
As defined by Webster.
Have all the opinions you want. You can keep going, though. Go ahead.
As defined by Webster. Thank you very much. So anyways, the whole thing that he was saying is just that he's speaking for the people who have lost their jobs. And you know what? I respect anybody who's willing to stand by their words and say, listen, if I got to be the sacrificial lamb to show how unfair and put a highlight on how silly it is for people who at one point we were praising for their sacrifices and working unvaccinated and sacrificing their lives. These people that we're praising, we're now saying you cannot have a job. Those same people are losing their jobs. If we cannot stand by and fight for those people and whatever, well, I'll be the one to do it then, if nobody wants to do it. This is a man who also, when the WNBA was going through their disputes with contracts, paid only $1.5 million. And you know what that $1.5 million covered? Every WNBA player's salary that they would have lost and workers' salary that they would have lost due to this little shutdown. Kyrie Irving is not a selfish person as everybody's trying to make him out to be. Welcome to my TED Talk.
I don't know. He bought what's his name again? Well, I'll keep that part out there. But Kyrie Irving, not a selfish person, period. Not
exactly. So everybody's saying that he's being selfish because he's making this decision for himself and he doesn't care about the team and that. Shut the fuck up. It's his body. He says that it's his body. Everybody has a right to make a decision for their own body. Anybody who is for or has an opinion on abortions shouldn't be here judging Kyrie. Anybody who had a problem with Texas and the law that they put in needs to shut the fuck up about Kyrie. It's the same thing. He made a decision about his body.
Yeah, I know. It makes no sense. When people say he's being selfish because he's making a decision about his body. What the hell? How is that being? It's my body. How is me making a decision for my body?
Yo, if I want to go pierce my nipple, attach a chain, and the other end attaches to the head of my penis, I can do that. That's my decision, whether you agree with it or not. That's how I feel. Are you going to judge me because I do it? Absolutely. But you can't stop me.
I can't stop you, but you would be immediately terminated from this podcast.
How does Webster define that? Tell me how Webster would define that.
Freaky. Viewing public, what are your thoughts here? Leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Look, speaking of freaky, a California mom was arrested for having secret sex teen parties where she provided the liquor and condoms, plus watched them have sex. So she likes to party. Now, court document says that 47-year-old Shannon O'Connor started laughing as she watched a teen boy mount and grope a girl who was a friend of her 15-year-old son. Oftentimes, her 14 and 15-year-old children were so intoxicated that they would vomit and be unable to stand and fall down unconscious. Now, O'Connor, charged with felony counts of child abuse and sexual assault, she is also being charged with $120,000 in credit card fraud. So she's a champion. Story's kind of messed up, right?
That's crazy. Isn't that the girl from Terminator? I
can see why you made that mistake, but no.
Okay. All right. I was just saying because, hey, that's a future that I like. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, this happened in 2020 for the span of 8 months. Basically, she took the credit card fraud money to fund these parties. She's just a sick individual. Ultimately, what happened is some of these girls would get too drunk, too high, they'd pass out in rooms thinking they could pass out safely. And this mom would send little boys in there to go and do shit to these girls while they were unconscious. Finally, one of them got away, reported it, and other people started to come forward. Now, the story's messed up enough, right? But the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because some parents, and I've experienced this, some parents actually allow their kid, they say, hey, I know you're going to go out there. I know you're going to smoke. I know you're going to drink. I know you're going to have sex. I need to make sure that these things are happening in a safe environment. Tell your friends they can come here. And they do that. They actually do that. And a lot of people would hear this and they would say, okay, wow, that's really, really warped. Right now, what O'Connor did is warped because she watched it. She antagonized it. She participated. But some parents say, hey, just go in the basement, go in your room. I'll monitor without seeing type of thing. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And to some parents, it makes sense to do that. And some people would hear that and be like, that's sick. Me personally, it's not happening. Me personally, and I'd have to talk to my wife about this. When my daughter reaches that age where she wants to party, and party is a general term that could mean any of the three things we talked about: drink, smoke, have sex, any of those. I would prefer that my daughter do that in my home. Would I allow my teenage daughter to have sex in my house? Fuck no. I'm going to catch a murder charge. I'm shooting whoever's in there. Period. Right? But what I'm saying, though, the other two, the drinking and the smoking, if my daughter wants to get into that, I would prefer her do that in my home, because I don't know about you, but I've had some really bad drinking experiences when I was a teen. Not so much smoking, but definitely drinking. And a female, there's some sick people out there who will take advantage of a female who can't make a decision on their own.
100%.
Like, where do you stand on this?
I'm not saying let your kids go out and be reckless and be wild and don't monitor them and all of that stuff. But I will say this: I've had many good and bad experiences involving alcohol and that type of life and whatever. And you know what? I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot of things. It's turned me into a person with a lot more knowledge than I probably would have gained if somebody sat there trying to explain it to me. So as much as I want to, and I understand you being a parent, want to control the environment, which of course, when it comes to stuff like drugs, is definitely a wise thing to do. Definitely a wise thing to do.
And alcohol.
Yeah, definitely another wise thing to do, of course, because then you don't have to worry about how your child is getting home. Of course, that's definitely what you want to do. But there are other children involved. There are other kids going to be there. You know what I mean? And their parents are letting them go out, and it's two different experiences now that people are having. See, the kids that are outside your home, those parents are allowing them to kind of make their own mistakes. And if they make grand mistakes, I guess that's a risk that the parents are willing to take. But they're learning a lot more, unfortunately, than your daughter would learn being in her home environment. She's not going to have to go through those experiences of being totally wasted and having to figure out how she's going to get home.
Hold on for a second. I have to stop you right there.
Oh, okay.
I just have to.
Done.
I know you're not done. Okay. I know you're not done, but like, as a parent, you are going down a slide covered in razor blades.
No, but I understand the protective nature of a parent.
It's not about a protective nature, my friend. It's about, like, even at this age, I'm sure you have female friends. You would have female friends that you care dearly about. You would not want this grown-up adult to be so in a situation where she's so intoxicated she doesn't know how to get home, or she could be taken advantage of sexually. You're looking at this not only from the point of view as a person without a child, but from the point of view of a man. So a guy being so hammered, a teenager rather, being so hammered, I don't know how I'm going to get home. What did I do last night? Why does my finger smell like this? That's a very different experience than a girl saying, I don't know how to get home. Why do I hurt down there? You understand what I'm saying?
Right. I'm not even talking about it to the point of any type of sexual assault, like getting.
Well, where do you think any parent would be looking at this from?
That drunken wasted. That's an extreme case. That's an extreme case, because that's not going to happen every time that they get intoxicated.
So I will tell you, and I'm sorry.
And I don't want to break your heart. I don't want to hurt you, but any parent that feels that just by having their kid in the house and trying to control the environment and all of that stuff, if you feel like that's always going to be the case, that's just not going to be it. Your kid is still going to find a way to get outside of your house and do all those things away from your house, as much as you want to sit there and control it. So it's still going to happen.
100%,
it's still going to happen.
100%.
And hopefully the parent doesn't make it to a situation where the child feels like they need to hide that from them, because then that becomes more when you start creating an environment for your child, a safe one at that, but then they feel like they need to escape because they want to rebel. That's now become a more dangerous situation, because they might feel like they need to hide it from you. But I'm not saying that what you're doing is wrong, though. I'm not. I'm just saying there's different experiences, and sometimes the tougher route, as dumb as I may sound, not having a kid, can teach the kids more experience. Hopefully, Obviously, I don't want anybody to get sexually assaulted. That's extreme. Hopefully they're smart enough to at least party in groups with friends.
Well, what you're talking about is lessons learned, and lessons learned could be applied in any faction of adolescence as they grow up. What I'm speaking to and what you're saying in response to that makes total sense. You can't control. You can, but you can't, because if you've ever been a kid,
you can try.
You could try. So really, it's all about the parenting and what you instill. But even with all the parenting that you do, even with, don't let anybody make your drinks, even with the bring your own, all of that stuff, teenagers make bad decisions. And there's also malicious teenagers out there that will do whatever they can to help assist your child, your teenager, to making a bad decision. Do I think, or should any parent think for 1 second, if they try to put their child in a controlled environment, that they can prevent the world from being the world? You'd be sadly mistaken, and your heart will be broken. But all you can do is try to parent the best you know how to parent. And when I say what I said, again, to be clear, my wife has not signed off on this. But when I say what I said, I don't think for a second that my future daughter would be like, oh, this is fun, my parents are cool, this will work. Of course not. She's eventually gonna be like, this is boring, right, and I want to go party somewhere else. So it's about parenting, I think. But to now dribble,
obviously what that teacher did was extremely fucked up. What that teacher did with the students and then they messed up. That's extremely fucked up. There was, I don't know if you remember when Boosie, it came out that Boosie bought I think his son turned 13 or turned some age or whatever, and he got him a prostitute to give him a blowjob. Do you hear about that?
Of course.
Okay, so Boosie caught a hella lot of backlash for doing something like that. People said that was sick. That's disgusting. Oh, what if he didn't want it? He was molested, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? Maybe the son wanted it. And if Boosie didn't do it, maybe the son had already gotten it. It's Boosie's son. It's Boosie's son. He could have gotten that from a grown woman himself before that already, and Boosie didn't even know that. Boosie thought it was the first time. So I'm just saying, you can try to control it, and people can criticize you for doing but the kids, if they want to go do it, they go do it. You think my parents wanted me to have sex in their household? Obviously not. Did I?
Did you have sex on your parents' bed?
No.
Oh, you're fired for sure.
There's an audio and a video version of this. So no.
You're fired for sure. Viewing public, listen, man, again, the original, the springboard for this topic, crazy. I don't even have to ask you how you feel about that. But let's talk to allowing your children to party underneath your roof, or maybe you have a flat roof, but underneath your roof. How do you feel about it? That, leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like
people
and subscribe.
In Florida pissed off at you right now for that rooftop.
I know, right? Listen, babe, Karen, listen. Again, I said that you need to agree with the future party. I'm not saying it's happening. All right,
this guy's already covered his tracks. Very wise, sir.
Man. Listen, let me tell you something about prostitutes, though.
You gonna give me some prostitute advice, like price list or what?
Well, I mean, I want to know your thoughts on this. I think it's more just about rights. A sex worker was kicked out of her public housing, if you know what it takes to get into public housing. She was kicked out of her public housing for working from home during the pandemic. Now, neighbors complained about her allegedly loud performances. I got some comments about that. Court noted that customers would line up in their cars alongside the block beginning the morning while waiting to basically see the alleged prostitute. Her name was Perry. One diligent neighbor even kept a log.
A what?
One diligent neighbor even kept a log documenting all of Perry's numerous visitors, which the police then used in their investigation. Now, look, it's a pandemic. We work from home. Everybody knows that escorting now is okay. Everybody knows that escorting is the oldest profession since mankind existed. Bible days, people were slanging that pootie tang. So what I'm saying is, not a big deal. You work from, not you, but you work from home. We all now view escorting as a profession. So if you get to work from home for your profession, Why can't she? Now, if she was following the noise complaints bylaws of the building, what's the problem here? And who is taking diligent? And furthermore, if she's performing so well, who knows? Maybe she was lying during some of her encounters. But if she's so loud, clearly whatever it is she's doing successfully. People were lining up around the block. I mean, at the end of the day, why are we angry that this girl has a successful business?
You are so wild. You are so, that is wild.
What I'm trying to say is, this is ridiculous that she got kicked out of her home. Public housing, and I mentioned that earlier because you need to be down bad to live in public housing. I came from public housing. I know. So you need to be down bad to live in public housing. So she was living in public housing down bad, and they kicked her out of it. So all she's doing is what she knows how to do, which is be great at her job. Like I said, maybe these encounters were horrible with these men. But she's so loud, she's getting them coming back. What are we talking about?
Stop. Okay, you should be her legal defense, because that was amazing. This woman, if you really want to break down the story, is horrible. She might be great at her actual physical job and just screaming real loud, but she's horrible at management of her life. Okay? Because if you're telling me, what'd you say? I'm listening to the details of the song, and you told me that there were cars parked down the street from morning till night.
Yep.
Okay. She lives in public housing. Cool. She is loud. You should know to invest in yourself. I don't know how much money you're making off of this, or if you're just pretending to be poor or whatever, but you need to up your rate, first of all. Up your rates, because clearly you're not charging enough. If you're in public housing, you have lines down the block. That doesn't make any sense. That math doesn't make sense to me. Second of all, take some of the money, invest it in some egg cartons or some form of soundproofing, some kind of sound barrier, because I'm pretty sure that this wasn't on the very first noise complaint that they just decided, I'm going to kick her out. I'm pretty sure there were multiple noise complaints that were made. And after the first few, if you knew that this is what you had to do, manage your life and figure out a way that you could still do your job in that apartment safely. It doesn't take much to get some foam. It really doesn't. You can spray it on now. There's all types of forms. There's new age forms for it. I understand you're a prostitute. Your job is to spread your legs and make guys feel like they're super, super manly. But it doesn't mean you're not supposed to have a brain. The guys are the ones that are not supposed to have the brains. They're paying for sex. They're the ones who are not from somebody in public housing. Let me be very specific, because of course we do have escorts who charge high rates and they're professionals at their job. And I understand why men pay for sex, but that's a totally different conversation. I agree with men who want to pay for sex. Go ahead, do your thing. But if you're a public housing prostitute, I don't know. I think guys are going to you because your rates may be a little below where they want to pay, and they're happy with that. I believe it's as simple as that. But manage your life a little bit better. Use your mind, and think about ways of getting yourself out of this situation. I don't feel bad for this girl at all. She put herself here. Think about it.
Well, viewing public, how about you think about it? All I see is a person with very low overhead that says, why would I leave public housing? I'm spending $200 a month on a roof over my head, and I'm making $5,000 a month. That's all I'm saying.
The math. I've never been really good at math, but public housing and cars down the block as a prostitute, that math just seems wrong to me. There's a why. It's like when they added the letters and the numbers with the letters. That's when you lost me in math.
All right. Well, leave it in the comments. Let me know how you feel about hooking and paying for that PP tang. Look, Nicki Minaj has always been one of my favorites. When she came out, I thought she was a dope rapper. But then she just got this godlike complex, and I think that's exhibited here. Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Perry, her husband, they're facing $15 million default judgment for ignoring a lawsuit. Nicki Minaj and her husband, Kenneth Perry, face a default judgment in the tune of 15 M's, basically for failing to answer Jennifer Hughes' lawsuit. Now, the couple was given 21 days from the date that they were served to answer the complaint. Since they failed to do that, it clears the way for a default judgment. So basically, they're getting charged because they were like, fuck this lawsuit.
Yeah, I'm not showing up.
fuck this lawsuit. The game had the same problem. He that's why he retired. He's like, fuck this lawsuit. Why are you ignoring the lawsuit? Now, again, when I speak to the godlike complex, it's just the arrogance of saying, well, I'm above the law. It's also the arrogance of them trying to bribe the alleged victim. What are we talking about here? So look, again, fan of her musically, but it just seems like as a human being, whenever somebody has anything to say about Nicki Minaj, it's always bad. And you heard the saying before, if somebody been calling you a crackhead for 20 years, I'm not saying she's a crackhead, it's probably true. They've been saying nothing but bad things about Nicki Minaj for a very long time, apart from the music, for a very long time. I just don't think she's a good person. Do I think she can change? Of course. Everyone could change, but you have to eventually start. And the worst place to start is by trying to bribe an alleged victim of rape. That is not a good starting point. Barb, speak to your leader. She needs saving.
Honestly, when it comes to Nicki Minaj and any situation that involves her, I've checked out. Unless it involves music and rap music, that's where I stand by her. But like when it comes to her outside life, I've completely checked out. I pay attention to not just the person, but the people around them and how they act towards them. And there's a lot of fake stuff in this industry. So it's just funny to me that it's super public that her and Drake had a falling out. It seems like Lil Wayne is kind of loving her from a distance now. It seems like the people that were really close to her corner are kind of separating themselves. And now she's at a point where she's trying to make a comeback for her career. And it almost feels like a T-Pain flex. You know what I mean? Where people, or should I say more Mike Jones, you know, back how did the Mike Jones back then they didn't want me, now I'm hot, they all on me, right? Yeah. Except hers is the opposite. Back then I was hot, now I'm not, now they don't want me. You know what I mean? So it's funny to me how she's getting that kind of T-Pain treatment right now, to the point where it seems like she's trying to make some kind of comeback, and the only people that she can find to really make songs to pop off with is 6ix9ine and a few other. I believe she did a song with NBA YoungBoy. She might have done it. She did a song with Lil Pump.
Look, I understand what you're saying. It feels like people are abandoning her, maybe even in her time of need. But let me ask you a question. We've been podcasting now for just about over a year. We seem to be okay. You seem to be comfortable enough to even be associated with me on screen. That's a big deal. Some people might think it's not. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's just on screen, but that's cool.
What I'm saying, though, what I'm saying to you is you're associated with me now. So what I'm saying to you is if some crazy stuff came out about me that was totally against what you believe in, and vice versa, crazy stuff came about you against what I believe in, why would I want to associate myself with that? It has nothing to do with you as how talented you are, but you are doing some stuff in your personal life that I was unaware of that I don't rock with. So I now have to step away from that. And I'm doing it respectfully. I'm not coming out vocally and saying rah, rah, rah. I'm just easing away from you. We're not in pictures anymore. We don't like each other's posts on social media. And we could let people run with whatever they want to run with. But I don't think it's I was about to say I don't think it's a personal thing, but I think it's a very personal thing.
That's a personal thing. That's the difference between a business relationship and an actual friendship. That's what you just described.
Well,
because anybody who's actually a friend is not going to abandon you in your times when you're down.
If me and you are sandbox, okay? Sandbox. That's how long I've known you. And it turns out that you're a pedophile, we are no longer friends. I don't know you, and I wish the worst for you. You understand?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's fine. No, I'm not. Listen, feel that way. That's absolutely 100% fine for you to feel. I'm still going to stand by what I said. If I'm somebody's friend and something comes out and it's not something that I agree with, I'm not going to completely stop being their friend. Will I distance myself a little bit? 100%, but I'm not going to abandon you, because you know what? as dumb as this sounds, there's nobody who wakes up in the morning and says, you know what, I'm gonna go. I make the decision to want to go to be attracted to little boys and little girls. That's a disease, man. That's a disease.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
All I want to say is,
I'm not trying to justify it or anything. I'm not trying to justify it or anything.
I'm not saying
all I'm saying is you have to understand that if you're really somebody's friend, you should be able to look past certain things, and you don't have to be their best buddy or super close to them, but complete abandonment after you said that you'd be loyal to them and they might have helped you. You guys might have been through situations. I'm talking about that level of friendship. Man, if that's the level, then it's different for me.
You sound like one of R. Kelly's homies. But viewing public, what are your thoughts? Leave it in the comments. Let's keep it with this disgusting shit.
R. Kelly didn't hide it.
Let's keep it.
R. Kelly didn't hide it.
Except he did. He still has.
His friends knew. His friends knew. Stop.
But R. Kelly has not admitted to anything. His friends also, well, not his friends, but those
nobody
people,
did anything.
But those people who were on the stand defending him, they lied to him. All right then.
Okay, just please link the video about R. Kelly's defense so everybody could see what I said about that. So you can shut that down. You can shut that down immediately.
Florida mother facing charges after sending a gun to kindergarten. Florida mother's facing charges after sending her son to kindergarten with a loaded gun. Now, the boy discovered the revolver in his bag the day after his mother cleaned out her car and put the gun in his bag. When he opened up the bag at school, he saw the gun, brought it to the teacher's attention. The teachers alerted school officer police. Damn, America's a great place to live, where your kid goes to kindergarten, and in that kindergarten school, there are cops on the ground. But anyways, the cop made the weapon undangerous, so basically just took the bullets out, and now the mom is facing charges. Now, apparently, the gun was a stolen gun from her boyfriend. So her boyfriend's a winner chicken dinner. Again, crazy story, but just larger topic here. Guns in the home. Now, for a long time, I was like, fuck yeah, guns in the home. If you come into my house, I'm going to kill you. Let me say that a different way. That's crazy. You could be coming over to chill.
I'm like, I'm holding a apple pie in my hand, dog. What are you trying to do, dog? I brought wine and everything. This is 1994.
If you come over to my home to do me harm, I'm going to kill you. And I felt that way when I was just me on my own. Now I'm married with a child. If you come into
Ding,
that
dog, bang.
It's going to be that. If you come to my home with my family, I'm going to kill you. For sure. If you're trying to harm me or my family, you're dying. Right? Know the laws and everything in Canada. But now you say to yourself, my child's inquisitive, likes to get into shit. What if they find that gun? And then you also say to yourself, who am I? Why do I need a gun in the house? Why are people coming at me like this? Are there people coming at me like this? Some people just want the gun in their home because they have the right to have that gun in their home. But then it's, why do you need the gun in the home? And is the risk worth the reward? Risk, of course, meaning somebody finds that gun who's not, able to handle it, shoots himself or somebody else in the family. Reward, of course, being somebody tries to break in, you're armed, you could protect yourself.
Right.
So now, again, me growing up, I want this thing, but now I'm looking at it like, do I want this thing? Would you keep a gun in your home? Answer.
You know what makes this conversation difficult for us is we're from Canada.
Right.
This is a totally different conversation if we were American. We'd be having a totally different conversation. We probably have a different stance. I'm not sure what yours is. I know what mine is, but it might have changed if we were American. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But we could speak on being Canadian. The laws here in Canada are so strict when it comes to guns and just being able to legally attain a gun. It's so difficult, especially now, that the odds of a kid finding a gun in a home and being able to even shoot themselves, if it's being stored properly, is impossible, because you're not even allowed to store the ammo in the same place where the gun is being stored. And they both have to be stored separate, locked. Exactly. It has to be, thank you very much. It has to be locked away. So us in Canada, us speaking about this, obviously 2 Canadian boys were sitting here with the mentality like, this is never going to happen. That's why I could have a gun in my house. It's not going to happen because I'm not just going to leave the gun just loaded, just chilling like that. You know what I mean? Not if I don't want to get in trouble. Now, if we were in the States, and especially in more specific states where the gun laws are way more loose, this is something that is way more likely to happen. And in those houses, I believe that you are 100% right, because that is what I said. I said the easiest solution to all of these gun problems is to get rid of the guns. The only people that should have guns is military people who are defending the countries. The cops can have tasers. The cops can have the little rubber bullets. The cops can have the beanie guns. There's all types of weapons that can be used to stop humans that don't result in death every single time, or most likely you're going to end up dying. But we choose to do that. Why do cops need guns? Because people have guns. Because the criminals have guns. Why do the criminals have guns? Because the cops have guns. It's a big ass circle that we keep living our life in. And the easiest solution is just erase it, but it's never going to happen. So as much as we want to sit here and be like, you know what, should we do this with our guns? Should we keep them in the house? Should we not? We can sit here and debate it. They're not going to go nowhere. People are going to keep them in their houses because of just that reason.
Well, I mean, I guess, not I guess. I mean, it's definitely a fair point for sure. But in Canada, viewing public, I want to know what your thoughts are on having guns in the home. Do you think it is necessary? If you do, where you at? What province you in? What's going on in your neighborhood?
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan
has the most dangerous thugs, I heard.
If you don't, again,
Flatlands.
I pose the same questions to you. With that, leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Look,
prairie shooters.
I just
hear about the prairie gang. Sorry,
I have not, but
shit.
I do want to point out
Hell's Angels prairie gang.
I'll leave it at that. But I do want to put, because I'll leave it there. But I do want to point out that 50 Cent is still the king of petty. Now, we all know Tierra Marie. If you don't know Tierra Marie, she had her one song that wasn't even that big on the Rock, or I guess Rock Nation. Remember that joint? I wanna go. Yeah, I can't sing, so I'll leave
Not the way that you did it.
She had one song, but then she was on Love and Hip Hop. But anyway, so what ended up happening, just a quick little background, is a photographer took a picture of her. They superimposed like cum on her face. It was a big thing legally. 50 Cent, for some reason, reposted it. Don't know why. And then she tried to sue him. He countersued for legal fees. The judge, for some reason, sided with 50 Cent. Maybe the judge I don't know, but sided with 50. And then, so he sued her for like 35 grand. Tierra Marie has no money. Okay. Right. She can't pay for this. So because she kept defaulting, 50 Cent was like, I'm not leaving this alone because you tried to sue me. So right. He went back through the legal system and they added another 15,000. She's up to 50 grand that she owes 50 Cent. And he will not let this go. And she's actually publicly pleading with him to please, I can't afford this. And he keeps pushing to the point that right now, today, 50 Cent is now going back to a judge being like, yo, where's my money?
100%.
He's a millionaire.
No, doesn't matter.
He has so little. But
nope, doesn't matter.
But 50, and I'll let you spill, 50 Cent's whole reason of doing this is because you came for me first. And since you did, now I'm coming for you.
Okay, so then I don't even know why we're talking about this.
Hold on,
Story done.
Hold on one second.
Okay.
Hello? Hey, babe. No. It might be in the car. Okay, do you need it right now? Okay, I'm just podcasting right now. Okay, come on. Go ahead.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so story done. I don't even know why we're talking about this. You see the exact reason why he's doing it. Like, it doesn't, I don't know. That doesn't make sense to you. It makes perfect sense to me. He didn't ask for somebody to come at him. He wasn't the reason why he ended up winning that default settlement, because he didn't create the original the original image. He just reposted it, which is what everybody on social media does when they see something that's funny, whether they have 1 million followers or whether they have 100 followers. Tierra Marie, or whatever, however you say her name, she came for 50 Cent because she wanted some clout. That's why she came for 50 Cent. And she tried to get money out of him. She cost him time. She cost him his precious time. And if you cost me my precious time and you come for me and I didn't ask for you to come for me, we're going to be at war. That's just the way it works. That way you learn a lesson. And I'm going to make sure you learn because if he gives up on this and she ends up not having to pay him the money, I guarantee you that bitch will not learn her lesson. I guarantee you that. She's going to be like, I got let off, and then she's going to go right back to making fun of 50 Cent a few years down the road, talking about, oh, whatever, you dropped the settlement because you knew you was wrong. Try to flip it and reverse it, Missy Elliott style. I'm not falling for that, bitch. We going to do this all the way. We going full force in. I'm with 50 Cent. Add another 50 Cent. Let's make it a full $1.
Unit. Damn, son. All right. Well, viewing public.
P-I-M. Pizzle.
What are your thoughts on this?
Don't fuck with that, man.
Clearly, leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Speaking of not fucking with people, speaking of character, we know 50 Cent is extremely petty, but let's talk about Budden for a minute. And we're all over this. This came and went like 40 times already. I don't even think it's been a year, but Joe Budden and Rory and Mal, we all remember the drama there. So Rory and Mal, they just signed a new podcast deal with Stitcher. And they did an interview speaking to that. The interviewer, of course.
Did you say Stitcher?
Is it Stitcher?
Yeah. Aren't we on Stitcher?
That's crazy. On Stitcher. Funny guy.
Oh wow.
We just don't have the bag. But anyway,
we'll get in there. We'll get there.
So one of the interviewer asked them a question. Hey, what are your thoughts on Budden? You know, when Budden said he was going to sue you if you ever started up a podcast. Rory answered the question very diplomatically, stayed away from it, but still answered. Mal answered it very directly without using Budden's name. And I'm just paraphrasing here, but he was more or less saying, hey, this just speaks to someone's character. Listen, if you hear something about someone that they treat people like shit and you decide to get into business with that person because your train of thought is, well, they wouldn't do it to me. Just know at some point in time, it'll be your turn. This is what we thought with the person in question. We were friends. They would never do it to us. Happened to us. Right? So kind of shitted on Budden. Shitting on his character, which more than anything to me, I think is a big deal. Talk about my money, talk about whatever you want. When you start to talk about me as a person, now you're kind of really taking digs. Budden, of course, responds with not the nicest things to say. I'll just leave it at that because it's super short. But I kind of think, and I just want to get you, this is a super quick one, but I kind of think that this is being done because I went back and I looked at Rory and Mal's YouTube channel. First video all the way up until their current video. First video is like 600,000, and it's just been a steady decline since then. But it's plateaued, right? When they put a video out, it's like 100, maybe 250. But
I'll go for that as a bottom view. Yeah,
I know, but from 600, and then that's also the
first video. Yeah,
I know, but we also know Budden's podcast is kind of taking a similar hit. So I think that this is just we're doing it right now. For conversation, what do you think? Do you think this is real, or do you think this is just fodder for podcasts?
What do you think? Do I think what is real? What is real?
Like Budden and Mal. Budden and Mal kind of
like their beef.
Their beef, yes.
Oh yes. I think it's real.
You actually think it's real? Oh, okay.
You think these guys are faking this for what? To get separate deals?
No, I think they're faking it just to get basically more attention to their platforms because, as I mentioned, their traction has been on decline, and this beef, if you want to call it that, was really popular and really beneficial to both parties. Right. I think they're faking it. I think this is
obviously if they're going to be mentioning Joe Budden after leaving the podcast and saying all these bad things about him, there's going to be a reason why they're mentioning Joe Budden. Joe Budden's going to respond for the exact same reason because he knows that exactly what you're saying. People are going to pay attention to how he feels specifically about Rory and Mal. But I don't think whatever issues that they have with each other are fake. And the reason why I don't think that is because the same reason, the fact that they're still bringing it up. When you get hurt by somebody who's really close or you thought was really close to you, that shit doesn't just disappear.
Yeah,
You hold on to that shit. You hold on to that shit forever. Be real, right? You hold on to that shit for a long ass time. As much as you want to be the bigger man, especially men though. This is why I fucks with us. This is why I fucks with men. Let me tell you why. Because we are real good at hiding our emotions when it comes to our feelings about other guys, like negative emotions. We real good. I'll hate somebody. I'll go to a party and I'll see them and I'll walk up and I'll dap them. Not like super overly friendly, but I'll be like, yo, what up? You know why? Because I want to be seen as though I'm the bigger person. Even though in my head, I'm like, yo, fuck you, nigga. I hope you die. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it really be going, though. That's how it really be going. And that's exactly what's happening in this situation. That's how I know it's real. I don't think that they brought this up as much as I did say that it sounds like it's for the clout. I believe they really got their feelings hurt. And that's why would Joe Budden respond? All these guys said they're done with each other, but they still want to talk about each other because it was really friends, man. And these people really got hurt. So yeah, I don't think it's fake.
All right. Well, viewing public, what are your thoughts? I feel like time heals all wounds. Plenty of time has gone by.
Mill is the deal that these guys got too. Like
both of these people are in their respective fields successfully. Why are we still mad? Leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Look, man,
hold on. I wish we could be on a decline to the point where our bottom gets us $10 million. I just realized that you said that their videos were on a steady decline and they got a $10 million check from Stitcher. That's crazy.
No. I didn't say they got a $10 million check from Stitcher. I said they got a deal from Stitcher. I didn't say.
I heard it was for 10 mil. I heard it was for 10 mil.
All right. Well, then even better. Damn.
Yeah, I heard it was. Newsflash. Let's break the breaking news. It was for 10 mil. That's what I heard. Let's
keep the podcast guest beef going. Look, 40 Cal. Shout out to 40 Cal. Shout out to Shade in the Six. Shade in the Six is a would you call it a vlogger or a blogger?
Okay, we're doing local news now. Okay, I like it.
Yeah, she posts
Toronto vibes.
She posts a lot on Instagram. She shows love, so shout out to her for sure. And again, 40 Cows. But apparently they have a little bit of a tiff going on. And by the way, you can go to 40 Cows YouTube page, 6 bangers only. That's 6 with the number 6, and you can see the video there. Go to his both of their Instagrams as well. But 40 Cows and Gutsy had beef, if you want to call it beef. And they made amends. They pieced it up. And apparently this happened in an IG live. And according to 40 Cows, you can go watch the video for further clarification. Shade in the Six, I guess, was not too happy about that. And she started to, throw shade at 40, according to 40. And if you know Shade in the Six, whenever she does her live, she actually wears a mask over her face. She doesn't expose her identity. So 40 Cows actually did a video where he exposed her identity. So,
right.
Which was kind of crazy to me, right? And then I thought it simmered down because I didn't really hear anything about it for a while. But then 40 Cows posts a DM conversation on his Instagram. And Shade is saying, I'm not going to make you use me to get back at him. I'm assuming she's referring to Gutsy or Friday. And no, excuse me. That is what 40 said. And then Shade said, fine. And then he said, that's not right. And then she said, do you? I love you. And then she also says, always. And then 40 responds, shake my head. That's the post right there. Yeah, like I said, you can see it on his Instagram page. But I mean, I guess I love the messiness. I do. And like I said, I got love for both of these people. And I hope they figure it out and they work it out. I got love for both of these people. But I do love the messiness. I think it's entertaining as long as it doesn't cross a certain line, So I want to know what your thoughts are on this. But I also want to ask you, would you ever entertain podcast beef? You could answer it either way you want. Would you entertain the podcast beef? And then what do you think about the shade?
I know you want me to answer that question more than you want me to answer the other one. First of all, I know you do. I'm gonna touch on that one second, just because I know people want to hear my answer to that one. I know you do. So listen, I'm not familiar with this beef that is going on, so I'm just listening to what you're saying about it. But based on what you're saying, I know both of these people as well. Listen, they both seem to dabble in drama. That seems to be their things. Their things seem to be to post about it, to be involved in it. And when you meet two people like that, and I'm just gonna call it for what it looks like, very toxic right now, because I don't know this 40 cal guy and I don't want beef with him either. But my knowledge of him is his beef with Guts and now his beef with another blogger. And my knowledge of Shaden the Six is one, super supportive for people that she actually messes with. That I can definitely say. But a lot of drama. I've been in the IG lives. I was in an IG live one time. She was talking to Guts, and that one didn't end well either. Like that didn't, I don't know what happened between them, but that one didn't come off well. So when you have two people with these type of personalities, they're clearly going to clash. To say this doesn't go any further, I obviously hope it doesn't go any further as well. I hope this just stays as an online thing. But listen, two people with these type of personalities, I feel like you should just squash this right now before it gets to another level. That's all I'm going to say about it. Because I feel like egos are going to start getting involved. And when it comes to a point where now we're posting each other's messages that should be private, but we're both doing this. We're both talking about private conversations that we're having. Now, are we really having a conversation to try to resolve this? Or are we having a conversation trying to find content to keep it going?
Can I just speak to that last point that you made?
Yeah.
Find content to keep it going. So I'll take a page out of Jadakiss's book when he was talking about his their beef with G Unit. If we can both benefit from this financially, I can keep it going forever.
Right.
So I apply that to podcasting. If we know we're going to keep this online, if we know we are both going to mutually benefit from this, and we know it ain't all that serious, but it's entertaining for the people, them, let's do it. I'm here for it. Okay.
Which brings me to my answer to your second question. Would I entertain podcast beef? Yes. Absolutely, I would, because if somebody tries to come for our head, if they didn't try to come for me, they just try to come for your head, whatever, and it was something of notoriety, you better believe that I'm willing to sit here and defend us. Am I going to go out there and instigate beef or try to find a podcaster to cause beef with? No, that's just not my breed. But I can tell you this much. I know of these two podcasts, and I know for a fact I would have never heard about either one of them if their beef didn't start. And one of them is called Abba and Preach, and the other one is called the Fresh and Fit Podcast. And I've been watching their views since the little beef and tussle that they had on their two podcasts, and their views and followers and subscribers went way up. So, I mean, if your goal at the end of the day is to attract people and get eyes on you, podcasting and this type of beef and this type of stuff that you're doing, it works. But like I said, when it appears to me that that's the only thing that you're doing, to me, that's just a slippery, dangerous slope. And like I said, I don't know any of these people personally. I want to be very clear on that. I don't know either one of you personally.
Neither do I.
I'm telling you that what you're putting out there right now, that what I'm watching is a very dangerous slope. And if you are talented, if you do have some skills in some other field, let me see that. Don't give me the 6ix9ine treatment. I don't want it. I never liked 6ix9ine. 6ix9ine was all about the stupid drama. Give me some of your talent. Let me appreciate that, because I love y'all. Y'all are supportive, man. Y'all support us. I don't have no hate. I just don't like the way y'all move it. That's all.
Well, just to that again, go on both of these people's Instagram pages. There is, yes, what you're saying is accurate, but there is definitely a variety of posts that happen. Shaden the Six, of course, is a blogger, so she kind of posts about everything. And 40 Cows does post some motivational shit too. She posts some other shit, obviously, as well. But just to kind of bring it to a close, again, I'm entertained.
There's hoes that go to church on Sunday. Does it make it okay?
Well, I mean, I won't speak to that only because it kind of makes a weird little contradiction for my religion. But what I will say is
church can be a Muslim church. It could be a different church. It could be all types of churches. But
well,
you're religious, so you just stay away from church. I got it.
You got it. All right. For these two individuals, I love the shits. I'm very entertained by it. DJ Academics is DJ Academics for a reason, because people like me love the shits. So I have no qualms with what you're doing, as long as at the end of the day, there is some sort of a peaceful resolution where the two of you can A, coexist in the same room, and B, coexist online. That's all. What are your what are your thoughts? Leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. At some point, we'll do a live and figure this whole thing out. Deuces. All right.
Oh, that would be a great idea. You should definitely try to hook that up.
I ain't doing
that. Do that on one of your. Do that on one of the lives.
I ain't doing a live with these crazy niggas.
Oh, if you don't try to pull that off, you are a silly man.
Well, call me goofy. I'm playing. We'll figure it out. All right. Deuces.
We. You don't want me to be part of the IG live.
I did say that. All right. All right, deuces.
Yo, thanks for watching that video, making it all the way to the end. You made it this far, you have to like. Please subscribe and comment on the video as well. Join the conversation.
Absolutely. We finally hit our goal of 500 subscribers. Yes, we are trying to get to 1,000. And we can only do that with your help. You can start by watching that next video. You see that tiny little icon? Click on that icon, rinse and repeat. Deuces.
Deuce.